In verse 31, it says, they too have now been disobedient in order that by the mercy shown to you, they also may now receive mercy. The way that Paul words this, it almost sounds like he is saying that they had to become disobedient so that then God could show them mercy. It's easy to misunderstand what Paul is actually saying here. What's happening is, they were already disobedient. All people, all men have sinned, all women, all children, whatever. All people have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. It's not like the Jews that Paul went to weren't already sinners. But because they were not ready to repent, God had to allow them to continue down that road of rejection and sin, and then send Paul and Apollos and Timothy and all of these other people out to the Gentiles to bring the gospel to them, so that then the gospel could come back to the Jews when they were ready for it. So it's not that they had to become disobedient in order for God to show mercy, but that they had to continue in their disobedience before they would be ready for that mercy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a parallel to what happened in the garden.
I'm not sure.
Mercy was extended to Adam and Eve in that they weren't wiped out. Mm-hmm. They had been disobedient. I think the Jews were reliant upon their heritage, upon they lost sight of the fact that they were saved from what many in the world struggle with, that's being disobedience. And the importance of that mercy, I think, was highlighted, and it's highlighted because of disobedience. So it's sort of a reminder to the Jews that, hey, listen, I'd like you to be obedient, but we all struggle with disobedience, and it's my gift to you to relate with you despite this static that's developed between us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. And then in verse 32, God has consigned all to disobedience. I think that consigned is the wrong terminology there. I don't know why the ESV translators decided on that word. Looking up, that's in verse 32. In the King James says, God has concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. I think the point isn't that God is, consigned kind of sounds like God sent them out to it, like he gave them up, or deliberately made them disobedient. And that's not what he's saying. This consigned, I think it misses both the literal and the dynamic meaning of what Paul is saying. He's not talking about giving people up or condemning them to disobedience, but I think it means that God's justice is equally applied to everyone who has sinned. He allowed them to continue sinning so that then when they had gotten to bottom, kind of like, how they say with an alcoholic or an addict of any kind, that you're really not ready to recover until you've hit bottom. Well, he's letting the Jews hit bottom. He has consigned them to hitting bottom, like, okay, this is what you guys want. Here you go. So because they won't be ready to repent until the pain is enough. What's that famous saying? I don't remember who said it, but people don't change until the pain of change is exceeded by the pain of staying the same. And probably abandoning might be a better word. Like he has kind of given them up to let them finish out this course so that they will understand just how bad the effects are of what the route they've chosen to take. Because until you know that you have a problem, how will you know to look for the solution?
Is there a free will connotation of that, or
this whole process of abandoning people to their disobedience until they're ready for forgiveness? I think that kind of requires a certain amount of free will. What Paul is saying here is that God allows circumstances to continue until you are ready to choose the right thing. Does that mean that God forces you into circumstances that will make you repent? I don't think so. I think it means that he just lets you go. He lets you do your thing until you have figured out that your thing doesn't work. And most people never figure it out.